Hello G's and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you like what you see, please subscribe, click the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads, and give me a thumbs up and comment below and let me know what you liked. Okay, so today we're going to be making something a little different. I'm baking today, and I'm making something a little different than the usual. Well, you guys know about cinnamon buns, right? Well, today I'm going to be making chocolate buns. Because what I have is cocoa, and I couldn't find cinnamon anywhere. I ordered cinnamon from Instacart, and the person said that they found it, but it wasn't in the package when they delivered it. So, and I always have cocoa, so that's what we're doing today. We're doing cocoa buns. Now I think I'm going to have to half the recipe because I only have half of the flour. But that's okay because I would have had to bake it twice to make 12 cinnamon buns. So that's alright. I will just make do with what I have. I'll have 6 cinnamon buns, hopefully. Or maybe more, I don't know. So that was 2 cups of flour. The recipe called for 3.5 to 4, so I just put 2. Then I need the baking powder, and calls for 2.5 teaspoons. I'm gonna eyeball it as usual. I know baking is supposed to be an exact science. I'm just gonna go with about one teaspoon. Ooh, there's a hole in it. Okay. Let me put this down very gently. Let's see where the hole is. I think my box got a little wet. Alright, so there's, well, actually call for 2.5, so I'm going to put a little more on the bottom here, and that should be good. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I could put that in my hand and eyeball it. No biggie. That's, can you see that? Oh, you can see it. Yeah, that's about a 1/4 teaspoon. 1/2 cup of sugar, so we're going to put a 1/4 cup of sugar. Now, these cinnamon buns are gluten-free and yeast-free. About a 1/4 cup. They're depending on the baking powder to make it rise. And that's fine. So we're going to whisk this together to get everything fully incorporated. Let you see it. I think it's pretty mixed. And this was the gluten-free flour that I used was cup. This light is so bright. Okay, it was cup for cup. There you go. Hope you guys saw that. I'm supposed to put in 6 tablespoons of butter, or as my friend from the German bakery would say, Butter. Now this is 8 tablespoons. I'm just going to take 6 of them and throw that in there. Oh no, I'm supposed to be halving it. That was almost a mistake. So that's 2, 4. Wow, those would have been some buttery cinnamon buns. Not that it would have hurt it, but you never know. See. Okay, so we have the cinnamon buns, and we will only be using one of these, cinnamon, we have the butter, one of these room temperature eggs. The butter also was room temperature, by the way. Ugh. And this is supposed to make a nice dough. So we'll see. We will see. Maybe I'd be better off doing it with the spatula than the whisk. It says this dough is supposed to come out very smooth. I'm going to put that there. I think I'm going to have to use that other egg. Well, this is a European recipe, I suppose, because it's in grams and stuff like that, and you're supposed to weigh it. But I don't have a scale. That's the next thing I have to get, is a food scale. If anyone would like to get me one, my post office box address is on my About section. But you don't have to. I'll get it eventually. Eventually, when I think about it. See, that's the thing. I don't always think about things when I'm like someplace where I could get it, or when I'm ordering something, or, you know, and me, I'm cheap. When I order things, I always like to order the amount that will get me free shipping. Yeah, that's a little better. This looks like a dough that I will be able to knead and roll out. So I'm going to just get my hands in here right now. There. Now the filling for this called for light brown sugar, but I don't have any. So we're just going to go with granulated sugar. Alright, that should be good enough. I'm going to roll this out a bit. And I also don't have milk, which I'll need for the icing for the cinnamon buns. So you guys are going to get to see how I make my almond milk. You're going to get a 2-for-1 in this video. I'm just going to put this over right here and there. To get some, I was supposed to put salt in there. It wasn't that important. Let me just stiffens up. We're just gonna try to roll it out. I'm going to try and get as much out of this as I can. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm performing a wedding on Sunday, and I'm excited. It's the nephew of a friend of mine that passed away, and she introduced us. So I offered to marry him when I heard he was getting married. So I know she would have liked that. Now I'm getting ready to do the filling to roll it up. Instead of cinnamon, it's going to be chocolate. So I need a cup of sugar. This doesn't have to be so exact. A cup of sugar. It was supposed to be light brown, but I'm using granulated because I don't have any light brown sugar. And how much cinnamon is this? 2 tablespoons. We're going to put a lot more than that of cocoa. Yeah, there you go. That looks good. I'm going to mix that up. I had a fork here. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is. I'm going to mix this up a little bit. So now what I have to do is melt some butter. And they want me to melt 4 tablespoons, and I have exactly 4 tablespoons here. And this is already room temperature, so it shouldn't take too long to melt. I'm gonna stick that in the oven, and I'll be right back. And the butter's almost melted because you know me, I am impatient. And I think it's soft enough to mix in well with this. Oh, yeah, it was just about all the way melted. So that's good. That shouldn't be a problem. And I'm going to mix it in with the cocoa. Yeah. This looks so good. And then when that hot butter got in there, the chocolate smell just wafted right up to my nostrils. And it's like, what was it? Oh, Scooby-Doo. Remember Scooby-Doo when he had a Scooby snack? And how he would like, that's how I feel. That's how I feel right now. Speaking of Scooby-Doo, I know I'm always telling these little crazy stories that have nothing to do with the dish that I'm cooking. But my oldest daughter one time, there was this cheap shoe store somewhere in Manhattan that she just loved going to. I mean, she was going to school in Manhattan, and it seems like every time she passed this store, she bought a little pair of $10 shoes. So one day, she buys these shoes. They're white. They used to do designer knockoffs. And at one time, some designer was doing this white cloth shoe, and on the shoe it was like primary color prints of like letters and things like that. So she bought a pair of these knockoff shoes, and the lettering kind of looked like the lettering from Scooby-Doo. My son loved Scooby-Doo. He was just a little thing then. So she comes up to meet us at her sister's cheerleading practice. And my son is like, oh, look, you got Scooby-Doo shoes. She was so mad. She was like, these are not Scooby-Doo shoes. He's like, yeah, they are. Look, Scooby-Doo. The funniest thing. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, that's my little crazy story. Now, we're going to take the spatula and we're going to spread this chocolate goodness all over. Stuff is looking good. I can imagine when it bakes in the oven, it's going to get all ooey and gooey and sticky. Make sure I get all of this goodness in there. I think that's as much as I can get. I'm going to send all of my friends pictures of this. Some of them like the pictures, some of them are like, here she is showing off again. Well, I'm spreading it as evenly as I can. Let's just concentrate on rolling it up and hope that we're successful doing that. Okay, I won't try to move it. I'll just Hmm. Okay, that was successful. Okay, now I'm going to put 1-inch marks so I know where to cut it. Oh, this is going to be a little more than an inch. Oops. Let me just start cutting it. And I bought this especially for this. And like that. Maybe I can get away with not chilling it. I don't feel like it. This is a nice little dish or a nice little treat to wake your Valentine up with on Sunday morning. I mean, you could do all cinnamon if you want. You know, Valentines and chocolates. I think this is very appropriate. There. So I'm going to pop this in the oven, the center of a preheated oven, 25 minutes. Alright, so we're going to stick these in 25 minutes and I'll be right back. Now you get to see how I make my confectioner sugar. Now you get to see how I make my confectioner sugar. This calls for a cup of confectioners, so I am going to put, I'm not going to put a whole cup. That's like 3/4 of a cup. Because when you mix it up, it actually busts up a little bit. So you pour your sugar in the blender, and okay, now this looks pretty powdery now. You just keep increasing the speed and watching it get finer and finer. And let me see if this consistency is right. There we go. I don't want to breathe the sugar in. You see that cloud? The sugar cloud? I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah. It's like powdery soft, and look how it coats my fingers. Have confectionery sugar. That's how you do it. I don't know where my dishcloth went. So I'm going to put this to the side, and that is more or less a cup of confectionery sugar. Now I'm going to show you how to make the oat milk. I'm using Bob Red Mill's gluten-free oats. And you see the G-free, or the GF right on the bottom here, this little red circle. And I'm just going to use a little because it's not a lot of milk that I need. So I'm just going to make a very little bit. Yeah, a tablespoon. So I'm just gonna pour a little oatmeal in here. Now I'm going to just use the cloth. These dish towels that I have, they're made out of cheesecloth. So that's what you need to strain it. But it comes out quicker if you use a strainer and then use the cheesecloth. And then I'm going to pour just a little water in here. I just want to show you. It's fine, but it's not that fine. I'm going to pour water in it and let it mix up. And I'd say a cup of water. Yeah, it was like about a half a cup of oatmeal, and then I poured a cup of water in there. And now we're gonna let it do its thing. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Oops. You didn't see that. I'm gonna take a fresh cheesecloth. I'm gonna put it on top of this measuring cup. Leave a little indentation. And then I'm gonna pour the oat milk in there. I could just like leave it because some of the oatmeal has settled down to the bottom. But yeah. I'm sure that will get me a tablespoon. But you get the idea. And like I said, it's easier if you pour it through a sieve and then pour it through the cheesecloth to make sure you don't have any little bits in there. Use this. In there. See it dripping through? And then when it gets to the point where it's not dripping anymore, then you just twist it and get the rest of the milk out of there. And that's that. You know who does this? I was talking to Sunshine Peoples the other day, and she does this too. She makes oat milk, she makes rice milk. Rice milk, you do it the same way. Yeah. And now there's just the solids, the oatmeal in here. And today I'm just going to throw it away. Before I made cookies with it, this only needed, they said, a tablespoon. So I'm just going to pour a little. I think that's about a tablespoon. And it says you could use any kind of milk you want. I might need a little bit, just a little drop more. Now, if you did all your prep, I have to throw that last one away. It's okay, I'll just get 4 more out of here. If you did all your prep ahead of time, you know, like your butter was soft, your butter was melted, you didn't have to make confectioner sugar or oat milk. Man, I could have bought some milk and some sugar, but I really wanted to take this opportunity to show you guys how to do it, because sometimes just doing stuff like that is fun. So yeah, if you had everything prepped, I think altogether you could do this in an hour. So Sunday morning, if you want to wake up an hour before your honey and make them some nice cinnamon buns, chocolate buns, whatever you want to make, that'd be really cool. I think they'd appreciate it. So the chocolate or the cocoa buns are ready, and they're still a little warm, so I'm going to ice them now. Oh, you can see most of them. Sorry about that. My son, I'm sharing the studio now with my son because he's doing his recording and he's been making videos and stuff like that for himself. And so my setup got disturbed. So now I have to figure out how to set it when he's not using it. I should have had this in a bag so I could have piped it in. That's okay, it's still warm, it's still melty. These are gonna be so good. You know that I have to taste it while it's still warm. You know that. That's just me. There we go. Now they're all iced up. And I'm gonna taste it. I don't think they're hot. You know, they're just warm. I'm gonna taste it. I gotta let you guys know how it is. I have to taste it. Mmm. It's more cookie-like. The flavor's good. The chocolate's good. This would taste really good in cinnamon also. Mm. It's a little sweet. I think that if I were to make it again, I would use more melted butter in the mix and less sugar. And that would be perfect for me. This is a little sweet for me, but it's good though. And I definitely want to make it again using cinnamon. Yeah, it's a little sweet for me, but it's good for those of you that like sweet things, and a lot of people do. I'm just not a super sweet person. So that's my tip for today. And if you want, this is like a great Valentine's morning breakfast kind of thing. I'm gonna leave you now. Always remember to count your blessings, be a blessing to somebody else, and be kind to yourself. Until next time.